Welcome to MBA Solutions. I am Manjunath, working as an assistant professor at VVCA, Mysuru. In this video, let us discuss the history or evolution of organization development. Before going into the video, if you have not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe and press the bell icon to receive more notifications. Previously, we have discussed three major stems of OD evolution. So we discussed in our previous video laboratory training or T group training, action research and survey feedback background, then normative background. If you want to go through these three background, then you can click on the link prescribed in the description. In this video, we will discuss productivity and quality of work-life background and strategic change background. In T group training, the OD started during 1940s, where group of people were brought together and they wanted to interact with each other. Finally, feedback is given based on their interaction. In action research feedback, the research has been linked to the action or action plan of the organization. In normative background, we studied or we discussed Likkert's management system, 4 management practices, and Blake Morton's managerial grid. In this video, we will discuss productivity and quality of work-life background, strategic change background. So, as the name indicates, later during 1950s and 1960s, productivity and quality of work life played a major role in improving organizational effectiveness. So, how it all started? During 1950s, a researcher and his team called Eric Trist and his colleagues at Tavistock Institute of Human Relations, London, they did some research and they found that organization could develop better design which integrate people and technology. So they thought only technology might not help, or only people or taking of the design of the organization work might not help. So there should be a proper work design, and this work design should always integrate people and their skills with the technology. So based on this research, few organizations developed work design aimed at better integrating people and technology. So they started bringing people and technology together and design work in such a way that people utilize their skills, knowledge and use technology to work in the organization. And these kind of development happened with the involvement of union and management. So while designing those kind of work, they took the help of union and management and designed the work. It is not only designing the work. When you design this kind of work, you should train people on technology as well if they don't know properly. So this kind of improvement started happening during 1950s. And initially, quality of work life programs like work design, giving employees high level of discretion, this started. So during 1950s, some programs like giving employees lot of time, understand the task variety, give them proper feedback about the result. So all these were designed. Previously it was not there. Now employees can have discretion. Employees can divide among the tasks, variety of tasks, and they can take a proper decision on what to do at what kind of task. So high level of discretion was given to employees in work. That means they can divide, they can see, they can differentiate between the work that they are doing and others are doing. They can have different types of variety of tasks. They try to change from monotony to a non-monotonous kind of design, work design, and feedback were given to employees based on the result. And when we say quality of work life programs, it talks about how you improve the environment of your work life. That means the work environment, how it can be improved. So aiming at all these areas, initially some work or some jobs were designed where employees have the autonomy to think, to differentiate between task, one task and other task. We are given lot of variety of tasks to avoid monotonous, and finally feedback were given based on the results. Then this program discovered self-managing work group as a form of work design. So when this was given, these kind of programs were designed or jobs were designed, automatically self-managing work group started emerging. That means people started joining hands together and manage their work among themselves without giving lot of trouble to the superiors or supervisors. So self-managed work groups started forming as a part of this kind of programs. And this program created work group of multi-skilled workers. See, when employees were given autonomy to differentiate between different tasks, automatically different skilled, multi-skilled workers will also come into picture. They start understanding their skills. They start understanding whether they know lot of other skills related to other tasks, and necessary autonomy and information also were given to design and manage their own work. So if I don't like the way it is going on, if I can improve as an employee, so a lot of autonomy and freedom and even information were given to those kind of workers who are multi-skilled to improve their efficiency, and they can design and manage their own tasks. So this is how productivity or quality of work life started emerging. And later, then this program got migrated to America in 1960, during 1960s. So in America, it started emerging slowly based on proper work design, giving some autonomy to the employees, making them work based on multi skills that they have, giving some freedom on task variety, giving some freedom on managing their own task, modifying if required for the improvement or betterment of the job. Then more focus is given on people's reaction to work. During 1970s, what happened? Slowly it started evolving. This productivity and quality of work life started evolving to a newer heights where job satisfaction and mental health were taken into consideration. Now slowly organizations started seeing the people's reaction towards the work. If they are happy doing the work, unhappy doing the work, what is their reaction for the work that they are doing, and how individuals overcomes related to job satisfactions, outcomes related to job satisfaction and mental health. So organizations started focusing on this. I have given them some freedom. Organization has given freedom to people, but now how people react to the work, what is the outcome for their satisfaction and mental health while doing the job. So this was introduced. Slowly this particular background started emerging to a newer heights. Later during 1979, so reward system were brought into picture. Workflows, different various workflows to avoid monotony came into picture. Different management styles came into picture, and physical environment were given more importance. So previously, most of the organization used to have authoritative kind of management style. Slowly, they started bringing participative kind of leadership styles. Workflows started changing. Reward system were brought into picture. So they started to increase the importance of quality of work life or environment that the people are working in. So whatever is related to the job, they started improvising that. Then job enrichment. So enriching the job, improvising the job, creating better work group. So they started talking about teams, work environment started improving, quality circles started emerging in different parts of the world, productivity and job security were given significance value over a period of time. So job enrichment means if you are good at something else also, I will improvise your job and give that tasks also. Creating better teams, improvising the work environment, physical and intangible work environment, creating better supervisors, creating better bondage within the teams. Quality circles. Quality circle is that where people from different departments join hands together to solve problems inside the organization. So that is quality circles. Productivity started focusing more on productivity. Organizations started telling more on productivity. Job security were given a lot of significant value. And today, quality of work life is more in the form of employee involvement, TQM, Six Sigma programs. So this is how productivity and quality of work life background emerged over a period of time. initially slowly they started giving importance to every individual autonomy to frame and manage their own tasks. Slowly they started talking about mental health and job satisfaction of the employees. Then reward system, different ways of managing people, physical environment were also given lot of importance. Then slowly creating better teams, enriching the job, enriching the work environment, people around you, making them also or train supervisors and managers how to deal with people. Job security were given lot of importance. And now in recent trend, employee involvement is playing a major role. Total quality management, that means whatever they do, it should be of quality. And Six Sigma, where reduce the errors in the job that you are doing. So this is how productivity and quality of work-life background emerged over a period of time. Next, we will move on to strategic change background. So why strategic change background? Why strategic change? Strategic change always focuses on how action plan can be implemented in a proper way to bring out the change in the organization. Now, why strategic change? Because of some disruptions to the organization, because of some changes in different processes or change in the environment, then we have to bring strategic change. Now, for example, lifting of regulatory requirement. GST came into picture, some regulation has been changed. So when these regulatory change requirement has changed, then automatically the strategy that we frame in the organization should also change. Second, technological breakthrough. Whenever there is a change in technology, for example, Nokia did not took Android into picture. So technological breakthrough, because at that time Android was doing so well. So technological breakthrough also changes the strategy that organization is framing. And new CEO coming in to the organization from outside. So whenever there is a new CEO, automatically there will be a lot of changes in the process, in the strategy, in the environment. So these are some of the examples why we need to have a strategic change. Now, improving the alignment among organizations' environment, strategy and design is very important. So strategic change always focuses on organization's environment, strategy, and based on these two, how we design the organization structure, how we design the workflow in the organization, how we design all policies in the organization, all these are very important. Then, how we include to improve organization relationship to its environment. So how to improve organization relationship to the environment and to build or bring a fit between technical, political and cultural system of the organization. These two are very important. So we have to focus how organization environment changes, what strategy has to be done and how organization workflow structure has to be designed. Then we have to check whether what is the relationship between organization environment and technical, political and cultural system of the organization. So these things has to be taken care of whenever we bring strategic change. So strategic change was first implemented by Richard Becker and he applied this strategy and he suggested certain things. He suggested, based on organization's core mission or purpose of the business, you have to have different strategies in day-to-day activities of the organization. Then he said the difference between what environment demand and how organization respond are very important for improved performance. It could reduce the performance, it could improve the performance. For example, Nokia, environment or the customers were demanding change in the product, but organization does not respond properly. People prefer Android mobile phones at that time, but Nokia did not respond to the preferences of the people. So it could reduce performance or improve performance. Then he says many models recognize strategic change, which involves multiple levels of organization and change in its culture. So usually what strategic change is always based on the culture of the organization, because organization culture is dependent on the environment, the people inside the organization, organizational design, technology, all this. Hence, these models insist more on multiple different levels of organization and its change through culture. And finally, he said it often drives from top powerful executives. So strategic change should be driven from powerful executives and has important effects on performance. So whenever strategic change is implemented properly, it will create better performance. So he suggested that you have to understand the environment first, frame strategy and design your internal environment so that you can bring a better change in the culture of the organization, and then you can improve the performance, that too with the help of powerful top level executives. Without top level executives, you cannot frame better strategies to perform. Thank you for watching the video.